Pranam and welcome back to yet another episode of Jainism Simplified. Today we're going to talk about the spiritual significance of Daan in Jainism, its various components and many benefits. Daan is an act of giving without expecting anything back in return. It is showing compassion and empathy towards those who are less fortunate. To understand this concept in its truest sense, I'd like to quote Uma Swatiji, who thus described Daan in Tattvartha Sutra. The worth of a charitable act is determined by the manner of giving, the nature of the alms offered, the disposition of the giver, and the qualification of the recipient. Essentially, he's talking about four major components of Daan, which are the manner of giving, the nature of the alms offered, the disposition of the giver, and the qualification of the receiver. Regarding the manner of giving, Uma Swatiji suggests that charity must be given in the most dignified and respectful manner, which means that the giver must offer charity in a manner which is non-demeaning or patronizing, and the receiver must accept the charity in a manner which does not compromise his dignity or self-respect. The Tattvartha Sutra also suggests that charity should be given discreetly without seeking publicity or recognition. Regarding the nature of alms offered, Uma Swatiji suggests that the giver of the charity must consider the true needs and circumstances of the recipient, which means that the giver of the charity must consider what the recipient truly needs and not just offer charity out of obligation or to appease his own guilt. The Tattvartha Sutra also emphasizes the importance of giving without attachment or expectations of reward, which is the practice of aparigraha, as true charity should be given with a selfless and compassionate heart. Regarding the disposition of the giver, Uma Swatiji suggests that charity must be given with an attitude of compassion and generosity. This means that the giver must approach charity with pure heart to alleviate sufferings and to promote the well-being of others. The Tattvartha Sutra emphasizes the importance of giving with a pure heart and free from any selfish motives or ulterior intentions. Finally, Uma Swatiji provides guidance on the qualification of the recipient. As discussed earlier, the recipient must be deserving, appreciative, and virtuous. This means that the recipient should be someone who truly needs the charity and will use it wisely, someone who is grateful for the charity they receive, and someone who possesses virtues such as honesty, kindness, and compassion. Now let us discuss the three main types of Daan. Annadaan or material charity. This type of charity involves giving material objects such as food, clothing, shelter, or money to those in need. Annadaan is considered as the most basic form of charity, as it is essential to fulfill the basic needs of an individual or the society. Number 2, Gyan Daan or knowledge charity. This form of charity involves sharing of knowledge, skills, and wisdom with others. Gyan Daan is a very powerful way to uplift and empower an individual as it promotes self-awareness, education, and personal growth. Number 3, Abhedan or fearlessness charity. This form of charity involves offering protection and security to those who are in danger or distress. Abhedan is considered as the highest form of charity because this involves putting oneself at risk to protect the others or promote their well-being. Apart from these three main types of Daan, Uma Swatiji also suggests various other types of charities, which involves Kaldaan or time charity. This type of charity involves giving one's time and energy to help others, such as volunteering and mentoring. Aushadhi Daan or health charity. This type of charity involves promoting health and well-being, such as donating blood, offering medical services, among other things. Prakriti Daan or environmental charity. This type of charity involves promoting environmental sustainability and protecting natural resources. Each type of these charities that have been mentioned in the Jain scriptures are very essential for an individual and society to both survive and thrive, and thus they must be practiced with a sincere heart and compassion. Giving Daan or charity is a virtuous and a beneficial activity which has many benefits, such as development of compassion and generosity, promotion of social harmony and well-being. But what is really important is for us to understand the spiritual significance which is involved in the practice of giving Daan. Number 1, accumulation of punya. Giving Daan or charity is considered to be a virtuous act which generates punya, and this punya is believed to bring positive karmas and good fortune to the giver in this life and in the future lives. Number 2, purification of the soul. Giving Daan is also considered as a way to purify the soul and reduce negative karmas. Because when one gives with a selfless and a compassionate heart, it often leads to reduction of attachment and selfishness, both of which often leads to generating of negative karmas. Number 3, attainment of liberation. In Jainism, the ultimate liberation or moksha can be achieved by the practice of non-attachment and self-realization. By giving Daan, one can cultivate non-attachment and overcome ego, both of which are essential for attaining liberation. By giving with a selfless and a compassionate heart, you can experience these benefits and also promote the well-being of oneself and others. So go ahead and get involved in the act of giving and cultivate compassion and overcome attachment. And that's Jainism Simplified.